Well, Joe Biden has long told us, no, we don't want to take your guns away. We're not going to take your guns away. I'm not that kind of president. But that's, of course, a bald-faced lie. Yes, they do want to take your guns away. In fact, the Justice Department just announced a sweeping new program called ERPO. ERPO. Sounds like a hall monitor. Oh, there's ERPO again, telling you what to do. ERPO will let them label anyone they want as an extremist. So if you're labeled as an extremist by ERPO, then they will take your guns away and they will allow family members to report one another so that they can come and take those guns away as well. This is through something called the ERPO laws. So it's our National Extreme Risk Protection Order is what it's called, and their resource center. And it sounds like it's a ton because it actually is. It's a bunch of garbage, actually. So here's their National Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center. A tool to save lives. A tool to save lives. It gives them the power to train, assist, and advise on laws for pretty much every government and non-government agency in the name of keeping guns out of the hands of people who pose a threat to themselves or others. It's not just about preventing gun ownership through background checks. It's also about removing existing guns from people who they label extremist. And here's where it shows that it's not just about purchasing guns. It's also about possessing guns, meaning they'll take them away from anyone labeled an extremist. That they can't purchase or possess firearms for the duration of the order. What does that mean?
Yeah, can we pretty please define extremist in this before we start enacting this? I would really like a concrete definition of what extremist is.
Well, if you're under the Biden administration, right, everyone today is labeled an extremist. So everyone these days, you oppose sex changes for minors, you're an extremist. You're against Planet Fitness allowing dudes to go into the women's locker rooms, you're an extremist. How dare you want to have same-sex or single-sex spaces? You're an extremist. You're a white person who thinks you're not a racist. You're an extremist. I'm a white person. I don't think I'm racist.
You're an extremist and a racist if you don't support what Israel is doing. You're an anti-Semitic.
Yeah, you're anti-Semite, I guess. You're an extremist. Like if you just don't want people to die, like then you're an anti-Semite. Okay, thanks. You're a moron. That's what you are. I'll be an extremist. You're a moron. And you're a lover of genocide. How about that? I'll be the extremist. You're the lover of genocide then. Fine. You don't want to give illegal immigrants cash gift cards. You're an extremist. And also, you're a xenophobe. You are against millions of undocumented illegal aliens coming into the United States, taking our jobs, getting $10,000 gift cards and cell phones. You're an extremist.
Giving homes and places to stay and food before our homeless vets and other homeless people that are Americans that are on the street right now?
Yeah, you're an extremist. Therefore, my point is anyone can be labeled an extremist, and you can see how this gun removal program then can be divided along party lines. Here was President Biden in early in his presidency, of course, talking about MAGA Republicans are extremists.
And there's something dangerous happening in America now. There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy. The MAGA movement. Not every Republican, not even a majority of Republicans adhere to the MAGA extremist ideology. I know because I've been able to work with Republicans my whole career. But there's no question that today's Republican Party is driven and intimidated by MAGA Republican extremists. This MAGA threat is a threat to the brick and mortar of our democratic institutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're an extremist. So no guns for you. Someone in our chat room just said, an N-Cur says, yeah, you don't support killing millions of babies? You're an extremist. No guns for you. So it lets the Justice Department decide who is an extreme risk and then communicate that to law enforcement officials, prosecutors, attorneys, judges, clinicians, victim service and social service providers, community organizations, and behavioral health professionals. we've identified some extremists. Here you are. You're on some sort of a database now. You're on the ERPO database. It also allows family members to report ERPO concerns. Let me repeat that. It allows family members to report ERPO concerns if they think a member of their household should not have a gun. This is like 1984 family reporting. Like George Orwell would have been happy. Seriously, in the book, the main character finds his neighbor thrown in jail for thought crime, for yelling down with Big Brother in his sleep. And then when he admits his daughter turned him in, he's happy about it. He says, "Who turned you in?" Quote, "It was my little daughter," said Parsons with a sort of doleful pride. "She listened at the keyhole, heard what I was saying, and nipped off to the patrols the very next day. Pretty smart for a nipper of 7 years old, eh? I don't bear her for any grudge for it. In fact, I'm proud of her. It shows I brought her up in the right spirit anyway." It reminds me of, do you remember we covered this a couple of months ago? But of course, the DIA app that they rolled out in Ukraine, the DIA app. And it was it's basically the digital infrastructure app that the United States was funding through the U.S. aid program, of course, and to funnel billions of dollars into this, monitoring everything that happens into Ukraine. It's a test bed for this, right? So Ukraine was the test bed. And of course, in the DIA app, allowed you to report your neighbors. It's exactly what they want, and that's what they want to do in the United States. So remember, the gestational process of this was born out of this U.S. aid program and the DIA app in Ukraine. And now they want to bring it here, and they, of course, want to monitor everything we're doing in the United States. Rat on your family members and rat on your neighbors. Oh, and I'm sure they'll roll out an app for it, just like the DIA app in Ukraine. Representative Thomas Massie calls it a federal red flag center. What the hell is this evil? Thomas Massie writes, a federal red flag center. We did not authorize this. Announced, of course, just hours after the omnibus bill passes. Justice Department launches the National Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center. How is this possible? Right? They didn't authorize this, but now we just have a new Justice Department center where you can report people as extremists? How is this allowed in the United States? We are losing our country in real time.
It's just the modern version of if you see something, say something. Remember that?
Yeah, but
posted all over the airports and all that stuff.
But that I'd be okay with, right? If you see something, if you see a package that's laying there and you hear ticking in it, like maybe you go up to the security and be like, "Hey, there's a box laying there," right? Or
well, yeah, but it carried over to all other kinds of things. So, like for instance, like if somebody paid cash at a hotel, that was a red flag. So they had different things that, like, if something didn't seem right and out of the ordinary, not just bags and stuff, that you were to report it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing I think that seems to be missing from this is the word violent. That it's not, they're not going after violent people. Like, because I mean, like you look at domestic abuse situations where they should go in and confiscate the guns because that demonstrably saves lives. But this is just like extremist is such a squishy term. It's not easily defined. And because they're not adding violent in there, because violent maybe if somebody is like threatening somebody's life, take away their guns. But in the case they're just saying extremist, that's a political ideology. And they're basically saying there are certain political ideologies they will not allow to be armed.
Right.
And I think to me, that's the problem.
Oddly enough, this was announced again just after Thomas Massie said that, after the spending package was announced, which also cut the FBI budget by $650 million. And it cuts its construction account by 95%. And yet the FBI just gave itself sweeping new powers, but it cut its budget massively. Interesting. So how do you square that? I don't understand that. Does this make you a bigger part of the FBI now? Like, we're going to cut staff, we're going to cut resources, but now, guess what? We're just employing average citizens to become snitchers and just to report family members. So now we can cut our own budget because now you're going to do the job for them. We're going to turn this, 1984 United States. Meanwhile, in Florida, law enforcement must have not gotten the memo. They're saying that guns are still A-OK. And you can still protect your property with them. I love this. This was in 2022, so you can imagine the Justice Department will have some words with this guy in 2024. Listen.
As to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking into your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
So here in Florida, yeah, just shoot them. You know what? It'll save us all the extra work, the hassle of the paperwork and everything. And we don't have to fill out that paperwork, you know. So just if you got someone breaking into your home, don't call us. Just shoot them and kill them, okay? And don't worry, you'll be okay. We're not gonna come arrest you later. Florida. So I find this utterly disturbing, and how this gets pushed onto the American people. It seems this level of the surveillance state is real, as we've talked with Kyle Seraphin, former member of the FBI. The surveillance using, you know, illegal foreign surveillance on the FISA warrants, skirting around those laws in order to monitor and just get, you know, any kind of wiretaps and searches they want on Americans. And now this. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. You know, YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. And we will see you next time, everyone.